today will be focused on making pom-poms. So I made pom-poms on 2 different occasions for my university projects, and one was focused on picking a non-sustainable luxury brand. So we picked Loewe as a group, and then you find your concept. So we chose it on Joan Mitchell, and Joan Mitchell does these amazing brush strokes which are very messy, and she's inspired by landscapes but never takes from it. Is only inspired by it and her emotional impact that she gains from nature. So I found pom-poms are a really good way of like translating her artwork, and so that's the way I took this project. And then a later project I did was looking at my time in Algeria, because I have heritage and I'm partly Algerian. So that was really lovely exploring, and I looked at making a micro, well, more smaller pom-poms, and placing them on different areas of the legs on these transparent nude tights, and that was great for me because on the dress itself there were these like circular shapes on the bottom half of the dress, and it looked as though sort of gravity was taking its course, and the whole garment was connected to the body. And yeah, I just placed the pom-poms in different areas of the body, but it just goes to show you can go with small little pom-poms, and then you could go really large, and this is probably one of the biggest ones I made. And this is what was attached to the bag. I made a beautiful clutch bag in this mint colour, and it also comes in brown, but I'd attached this amazing pom-pom, which is a great reflection of my personality actually, because I love things that are a bit more experimental and not taken too seriously. It has like sort of how do you say it, like your inner child is sort of brought back into play. And what I did is at the end I cut out this felt and I hand sewed it all along, and then I attached a pin on, so that allows you to attach it onto different accessories and things, or your clothes, your bag. But in this case, yeah, it was aimed for the bag, but it allows it to be optional if you want to remove it or not, which is quite nice. And you can just play around with the shape. So today I'm going to show you like an in-depth video on how I make it, but it's also up for interpretation, so I won't be including the measurements as such, because what's nice is that you can create this as you will and with your own style and your own shape, your own piece. I had found something around the house that was circular, and I drew across a circle on some card, and then I grabbed like a smaller shape and I did the outline as well, and I cut these 2 bits inside. So it doesn't have to be specific, it can be plain simple, it's not supposed to be crazy. But the main thing is that you have this gap in between, and that will allow you towards the end to tie it all together. And you might notice there's 2 here, so you actually need 2. And as soon as you've done that, really all you need is this, your crochet yarn, some scissors, and you would need some felt, so you can get that anyway. You can get that off of Amazon and decide on the colour, but I just upcycled like a Halloween little thing that I had in my room, and it's quite nice actually, it's a nice colour. And you need some little safety pins as well. The yarn that I'm using is cotton, and cotton tends to be better because of its longevity, and it isn't a man-made product, but depending on what type of cotton you get, you'll notice that through the texture and how it feels against your hands, and the care as well. So this is Egyptian cotton, and this was really fine. I got this from John Lewis. It's really lovely actually, and it comes in such like beautiful colours. And yeah, I would just recommend cotton, and the thickness of it you can decide. This is a really thin one, looks like. So those small ones that I attached to the tights, this is what I had made. So they're just little micro ones, but what's so great about them is you can make them into quite literally anything, like a little keychain. And you can make beautiful colours too. It'd just be so nice as like a little headband or something, I don't know, or a scarf. There's still a lot of interesting ways of playing around with pom-poms, and there's just so much history. There's not as much history on pom-poms as I would have thought, but I know that pom-poms can be traced back 790 AD, and you would just see these men with their hats, and they would have a pom-pom at the top of it. Nothing as flamboyant as this, nothing with such colour, but it's interesting how different cultures take on these pom-poms. Like in the military, you have a lot of like soldiers with these amazing hats, and they have pom-poms on there. And then you have in Scotland, the Scottish culture, where they have these berets that have this little pom-pom in the middle. Like it's really, it really adds some substance to the look. And now they're just often also used as decorations, and a fun way of like doing with kids as well. But there's just so much opportunity there that you can play with. But in this case, this video, we're just going to be doing the pom-pom, so let's crack on with that. Get your 2 circles together, and then all you simply do is start wrapping your yarn around. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to wrap it around too tight. So when you get it on there, put it over and start wrapping, but not too tightly, because at the end when you pick it all together, it's going to be quite difficult to collect it all between these 2 circles. It's going to be difficult to, you'll see. But yeah, I would just continue doing that, and when you are wanting to change another colour, I will show you how to do that. There's a really great method called a magic knot. Actually, there's just so many things I want to get into, like doing like videos and things, because you have so much interesting techniques in like knotting and, like, you know, fishing and different ways to knot ropes and different types of ropes and the effect that you can get. And like, but this magic knot's great because they make it look really seamless, and in case of pom-poms you won't actually notice the knot because it will be really hidden, but it's about making sure that you get a good knot in, because otherwise it can just come loose. So I'll show you that. Okay, let me do some more of this and then we'll change the colour. We're at a stage where we want to change the thread, so what we just simply do is we cut the crochet yarn and we will decide on the colour change. So let's go with this, yeah, let's go with this one, this pink. Not got much of it, it's okay. Just gonna cut that bit off. Right, so what you do is you put them going against one another. It's like crossing paths, like so. And what you want to do is on both ends you want to do a knot. So form a little knot on one side and form on the other side too. So when you're doing the knot, make sure you're doing the knot on the colour itself, but over the other colour, the opposite colour. And then what you want to do is you want to just do that on both ends and then give it a bit of a tug, so it just holds still and it doesn't move anywhere. And then get some nice sharp scissors. These I don't think are going to do very well. Oh, here we go. And then give it a trim, get rid of that excess. And because they're super secure now, you can even go more finer and get rid of more of that excess that's not needed on there, knowing that you've tied it really well. And there you have it. It's so seamless, and that's called a magic knot. And pretty much you don't notice anything, and then you just continue on going. You just continue on going, and you wind more up along the circular thing. And you keep on going. Decide on the colour change. Give yourself enough space and thread to work with. You grab your thread, opposite ends, tie it on itself, but with the other fabric like in between, and then give it a good tug, a really good tug, and then you trim. Perfect. I kind of want to rest my leg up here. So yeah, you just keep going. I'm going to keep going. And then the aim is to get this full. You want it sort of to be thick enough. Give yourself maybe, I'd say about 2 centimeters thick, but like in total. Like thickness of 2.5, I'd say. But yeah, just continue on that, and you'll it's quite difficult to know exactly where the colours are going to sit when you end up doing it together and cutting it, because of the nature of the pom-pom. It's not like you can have the certain colours over here or there, but once you start to understand its dynamic and everything like that, it becomes easier to like figure out colour wise where you want to distinguish that. Like I noticed that like with this very first one I did, I used a lot of yellow, so yellow seems to be like a recurring theme around the pom-pom, and then you've got some like pink here and orange everywhere and purple down here and there. Like yeah, it's quite difficult, but I think that's the beauty of it, because you don't really know where it's going to be, and it's just so unique. You're never going to get the same copy of a pom-pom unless you just do it the same colour. I just think it's so fab. Even just his earrings, like, I love it. But yeah, I'll just continue on with that. Do a little speedy one, not too tight either. Orange would look really lovely, and then I've got a bit of red here too, so you can just have fun with it really. It's a nice project, and you don't know what you're going to get, so that is the beauty. I think the aim for me with this channel is just learning and continuing to learn, and build my knowledge. Probably the most important thing, and then also like sharing information too, so that you guys can also learn, because I think when you're watching something, some things can just like be like brain rotting, just no gain, no nothing. But I think that's sort of where I opposed to that, and I'm like, no, if I'm going to do something, I want it to be interesting and knowledgeable, and it could be, I want to like just share like general, not even general knowledge, just like random knowledge that you can just surprise someone with, and you can be like, what did you know, pom-poms? You know, they go back to 790 AC in the Scandinavian period. Well, not period, Scandinavian area. I think it was like Viking. Is it Viking? Yeah, the Vikings. So interesting. It actually is. It really, really is. Also, this year for me is all about dipping my toes in every area rather than just going, no, I'm a fashion person. I just love fashion. and that's everything, because life isn't set on one thing, and it shouldn't be, and there's just so much more to it. We are almost there, and you see how I've overlapped some of the colours. That's completely fine. Yeah, it's completely fine. I think it's going to look really lovely. And I've kind of distributed out the colours, so I've had some really dark colours, but then I've also decided to put some lighter ones in there. I might add a bit more of this pinky, baby pink. But so far looking good. Yeah, so we're just going to keep going. I'm going to fill in this blank gap here. So while I was just doing this, I was listening to career coach Mandy, and she's this lovely, amazing lady that focuses on fashion, but also like mindset and sort of well-being, like how to get into your like creative side, how to like have consistency in your work. And she was kind of just talking about like picking something and focusing on it and like making it like perfecting it, and she was talking about like the difference between like a corporate job and the art industry. And like corporate job is like stability, you know that there's going to be an income coming in, you know that you can rely on that. Art industry, it's like a lot of freelance work, or you know, a lot of inconsistent work, and you're sort of waiting on the next thing that's happening, and you never really know what's going to happen. So there's the difference between the two, and it sort of resonated with me because yeah, I guess it's just being a fashion student, and you sort of need that income because you have to think about the foreseeable future, but also like because you have that worry, you can't sit then and like be creative because you've got these doubts and these worries. And I think me and a friend were talking about this, and she's got this amazing work that she does, and she focuses on like creating these like installations in her room, and she's done amazing collaborations. And she was just talking about it, and mentioned as well that there's this level of inconsistency when you're doing freelance work. And there was a point where she was like, fuck, am I gonna have to work like in a pub or like something like that? And it is quite worrying because my take on that was, you got to kind of keep pulling through. But another way is like the realistic side of it is like, well, actually bills need to be paid, so some of the sacrifices need to be made. But yeah, I just realised my top is not on. What the hell? Wait, that's really weird. Okay, anyway, so yeah. So when you've managed to finish, it looks something like this. And in terms of the thickness, I mentioned to do about 2.5. This is probably looking at 1.5. But the more that you wind it up, the more full the pom-pom is going to be. So this pom-pom was something like this, where I hadn't wound it up too much. So there it is more floppy, where if you were to keep on going, you'd have something really full, and something that's more like this, where it's completely round. To be honest, I kind of prefer this, but in terms of this is sort of just one to experiment with. I don't think I am going to keep going around. This is just to show you. But so when you're happy with how much you have done and you've put them together, you're going to get your super sharp scissors and you're going to go in between the cardboard, and you're going to snip all the way around. And you want to be really gentle about this because you don't want the crochet yarn to move about too much and it come undone, because the second you start cutting it, everything can come undone if you're not gentle about it. So try and get it on a flat surface. In this case, because it's such a big pom-pom, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. But when I did the small one, I had to be really careful. And again, that's why you kind of don't want to wind it up on the very end, because now that I've cut it, it's very loose and it can come just undone. So if you just continue on with that. And if you do it too tight, it's going to be quite difficult to cut. I'm going to do it on my chair, hold on. Just keep going round. Might be better even you watch the video beforehand. Cut along all the end here, and you see there's some bits that have fallen off. But you just want to keep everything flat so it doesn't come undone. And then what you want to do is you want to get a long piece of thread and you want to put it in between the two cardboards. And so the strings that are hanging out are going to be here. Let me show you. So once you've got the string in between the cardboard, you want to give it a good tug and another knot. And then you'll be able to take this cardboard out. So give that a go. We've managed to finish the pom-pom. We've made a nice knot. And that's sort of what we have. And then you can fluff around the yarn after, but you kind of want to decide on where you want the felt base to sit. So decide on that and then create some space by pushing it over. Lay it flat on top and get your needle. I prefer to do it just one single thread rather than doubling it, because it is pretty secure, I find, and I'm pretty careful with how I do it. But yeah, and you just want to basically pick it up and like tack the base felt down to the yarn. So there is no right or wrong way to do it, but the preference that I like to do is I like to make the thread hidden. So I like to pick it up just on the very end and slightly underneath of the felt, and that way the whole felt itself looks like it's just been glued on. I mean, another option would be just to glue it on, but I think I like to spend a bit more time doing it, and I prefer the outcome with it on because you don't feel the like firm hard surface of the glue underneath. So it's just like a thin layer on top. And then you can then insert the pin, or you can pin it inside and then sew it along. It's whatever works, but both work just the same. So you just continue that on and you tack it, and then you get to the end and you knot it and make it hidden underneath, and that's simply it. I'll do a bit more to show you. Like, you don't have to pick up a certain amount of yarn, you just sort of pick it up gently. You can pick one or two up and like thread it through, and that way it just holds into place. And then you pick up the felt just on the side so you won't even be able to see it, and then you continue that round. Don't do too big of a gaps in between, just like take your time doing it just to make sure that it secures on really well. This just brings like a lot of nostalgia when I was a child, and my mum and dad would get me to do things like this, and there was just so much joy and like fun out of making something just from some yarn. There's just so much fun in doing it because it's a handmade product. And I was reading a book, The Beauty of Everyday Things, Satoshi Yanagi, Japanese art author, and yeah, it tells us how folk objects have been forgotten, and before, folk objects would have just seen as like your everyday object that you make, that has a lot of like longevity, and you know, it wouldn't have been necessarily considered as a talent, skill, because it was just so normalized. Whereas now it's really considered special, because everything is made in the factories or in China, like with all these technology machines advanced. So it's a really good book. I'd recommend this one actually. But that just kind of made me think of this, like, and doing all this hand sewing, because it's like, one, you're connecting with yourself, and then like second, it's something that you know has come from your hands. You've got two hands. If you're fortunate enough to have two hands, you get to do anything creative, and you get to make things like this, and you can make lovely presents as well for people. Like just knowing that you've made something using different like areas of like your senses, like your eyes and your hands and your feel to touch to see, like, you know, it's just pretty remarkable. So I feel quite blessed to be able to do this and to share it with you guys too. I think I do prefer this yellow one, but just to show you what you can make, and there'll be bits that hang out actually. You'll notice you can just trim it around. This orange bit must have been not done properly. But if you see anything that's like not right, just give it a good trim. Almost like you're grooming your pet. Yeah, and that's kind of what it looks like. It's quite a fun little bag with the pom-pom, but you can have so much fun with it. And this is the clutch bag that I made for my project, so as you'll know, you can have so much fun, and I love this. You can even have it higher up, you can decide on that, along with the other one. But look at that end in there.